good morning. I have these two black chairs that I painted last week. They were white up here and wood looking down here. And this one has 2 coats on it already, and I did a live video on YouTube on the basics of how to apply your second coat of DIY clay-based paint. I used Little Black Dress on this piece, but on the other chair, I just wanted to show you this real quick and tell you what happened in the meantime. What we're going to do this morning is add liquid patina to the first one, but this one had what we call bleed through, which there were a couple of areas on the chair where after the paint dried, like some old oils or grease or some type of residue that didn't come off with the cleaning whenever I prepped the piece came through here. So the way that you stop that, it's called bleed through. The way that you stop that bleed through is by applying a shellac based top coat on top of the piece. But my tip is this, and I usually just do the whole piece, but my tip is this. I went and bought this stuff because I couldn't find the regular shellac based primer. I bought that and I sprayed it on just on the areas where they were bleed through. So that's not going to allow any more of the whatever was under there to bleed through, and I can come and put on my next coat of paint now. It's going to stick and look like normal, and we're not going to have an issue. My tip is, though, I thought since I was just spraying this little bitty couple of tad of places to just go ahead and do it here on my table, and my whole joint smelled like this for probably the next 3 hours. So it might be smart to take your chair or your project or whatever it is outside to do that if you can't find a liquid one and you're using that spray. So that's my tip. Boy, was this convenient to not have to go paint on another whole coat of something, but do it outside. And I got this at Walmart, and I don't know how much it cost. It wouldn't be very expensive or I wouldn't have bought it. I'm gonna just dampen this is a real good chip brush. It's not the cheapy chip brush, but I forgot my paint brushes at home. I was working on projects at home and I don't have any good brushes up here, and I can't make myself buy another $30 brush just to put patina on this chair. Yeah, I could have. It's now just time to top coat this, and I could very well use the big top, but I'm going to use the liquid patina instead. And the reason I'm doing this is, and it's thin like water, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm painting these chairs to match the farmhouse table, and I did the farmhouse table with the liquid patina because that's what I had on hand at that moment. It's my impression that the big top is a little bit glossier than the liquid patina. This liquid patina also comes in a dark, called dark and decrepit, but that's not going to matter over this black, and I'm just kind of wanting to go with, you know, what I had on there before. So I'm just getting a little bit on the end of my brush there, and I'm gonna kind of double dip it, make sure I don't have any excess water on there, and just go from the top down. And it's kind of thin, so you have to be careful of runs, because and this will dry clear. Even though it's looking white on here right now, it's going to dry clear. But see this run right here? I don't know if you can or not. I'm going to lean you forward a little bit. There's a run right there, and if I didn't catch that right now, and even though it's going to dry clear, it's going to look black whenever it's done, for one, and that run is going to show. So be careful everywhere you start it, because it is thin. I'm just wanting to get a decent coat on here, and this will protect the finish of the chair. Especially, you know, you need to, DIY doesn't have like a built-in top coat hardener like thing. It's a clay-based paint and all natural, and if I just let this chair sit here for 30 days, it would harden on its own and be just fine. But I want to make sure, because it is a chair, it's something people are going to be sitting on all the time, sliding in, sliding out, pockets, buttons, and, you know, decorative blue jean things and all that, sliding back and forth over it, that it is protected. And the same thing with like the grease that got on the other one. That's you know, grease and sweat hair products, all kinds of things get on chairs for on the back of the chair, and those things would then cause sort of a residue buildup on this chair again, like it had before, that we're trying to avoid. So this is, you know, just the part that gives a little bit of protection, but you can already see as it's drying that it's clearing up, so it will be clear. You won't have to worry about the white part showing up or it looking too hazy. You don't want to, once it starts drying, you don't want to work it over too much. As long as it's still pretty wet, you can go back over it, make sure your brush strokes are good and all that. But if you start working it over too much after it started to dry, you're gonna peel some of it back up and have a nasty finish. But right now I'm just kind of looking back over, making sure there's no runs anywhere, and that my brush strokes are good at especially the parts at the beginning. And that's it. That's the whole shebang. So if you have any questions, just let me know. But this is not reactivating this. I did leave this chair to dry over the weekend, so probably since last Thursday. But it is, and I'm checking to double check I don't have pooling around these bottom areas as I do that. But you know, maybe a slight amount of this black is coming up, but not as if it were water. And once this is on here, this chair is going to be protected. It's going to look, I chose the liquid patina to begin with because I don't like things too glossy, and it's going with a farmhouse table, and the farmhouse things aren't too glossy. But if I wanted, after this, I could still go on with, you know, some other kind of wax or some golden ticket or something like that to give it a little more of a decorative finish. But with this particular project, that's not what we're going for. And there's hardly any in here. I would worry about this contaminating what's left. See, there's a little bit of black going in there, but I'm fixing to use all of this on this project. If I wasn't, I would go with, I've got my stack of little boats here that I put stuff in to keep from contaminating it with the, you know, the bits of the black that it will pick up. I'm making sure right now that my brush strokes are good because I'm not going to want to work this too much more. Go ahead and get this off my brush down here. Like I'm rocking and a rolling. Okay, well, I hope that tip helped. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for right now and finish this project, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.